Hi, everybody. This is Brian Koo with another ROK video, and I am here today with Spooks from the Cutthroat Killers of Kingdom 3572. The Cutthroat Killers, or C72K, they are in the final 16 of the Realm of Sobek in this year's Osiris League. And we're going to talk today to Spooks about his team, their chances in the Osiris League, as well as other interesting issues happening in Rise of Kingdoms. Spooks, thanks for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
So, just to let people familiarize themselves with your team as you go into the round of 16 play this weekend, how would you introduce C72K to people out there?
So we are definitely a alliance, like a single alliance kingdom, and like our priority is really discipline and hard fighters. So like we don't care if you're like a small account or a big account, if you like fight properly and meet our pretty harsh like KP requirements, you will also be prioritized for things like Osiris League over others. And also like we have been drilling in the ideas of discipline and also how to properly ball fight and just supporting our players individually to make the best of their accounts.
What is the structure of your Osiris League team, and what can you tell us about the OL team?
So basically, our Osiris League team functions under 4 captains and then one main one, which is me. So we basically like segment the battlefield into 4 different sections, and then there's 2 zones, so one on Team A and one on Team B. And then each of those zones have a team captain who basically is in a VC with the 2 other team captains from that side, and like directs them what to do. And then those like separate captains are there with their own page of markers to basically direct the 3 to 4 players which they have.
Gotcha. So what has been you're a pretty old player. If you look at your player ID, you've been around the game for a long time. What is your most memorable Osiris League experience? And also, what do you think about Ark of Osiris in general?
I would definitely say my most like memorable experience is winning it.
Oh, okay. I should have noticed that from your city skin, shouldn't I? When did you win Osiris League?
I won it back in one of the earlier seasons. Like I was playing, okay, I think it was in 2377 when I was still there, and it was basically like it was one of the first ones which we won. I think also the only ones that they've won so far. Because I was actually a 77 native and then migrated that like this account there.
Wow,
And
that's
then yeah,
very impressive. Was that in a season of Conquest Osiris League, or was that in the Sobek Osiris League?
Sobek.
Okay, so you're a very experienced Sobek Arc player. That's quite a
Yeah, it's
valuable
God
skill
loves
set these
smacking
days.
around the like he's God loves smacking around the KVK1 kingdoms.
Are there any commanders that you've like old commanders that you've maxed just for Arc play?
Wuzichan.
Nice.
Yeah, she comes in handy quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Wu Zetian was a
Yeah,
very strong garrison commander when she came out. People might not realize that, but she was very useful in KVK when she first came out.
yeah,
Um,
and then Attila kind of came in and
yeah, exactly. So you mentioned that you're a very KVK focused kingdom, and one of the things you told me before this interview was that you actually had a number of players, 8 or so players, who did not meet requirements in your very recent KVK, and that you removed those players from the starting lineup for Osiris League. Can you tell me anything about that? I know that from my own experience as an arc lead, if I even demote someone from being like a lane controller to a filler, they get upset. If I were to actually demote someone off the starting lineup entirely, I mean, I feel like that would definitely cause some issues.
so I think the way it is, people know that if they don't meet the remaining like the requirements, they will be booted not only from the Osiris League teams but also from like the main alliances, which is like the case with the city below me. Like you can see that that's one of those. And then like
Madara, yep.
yeah, for us, like we use the Osiris League basically to gain the extra awards for our top fighters. So like if you're not going to contribute to the kingdom, like we're not going to basically allow you to like evolve your own account with the gold heads. So our priority there is really just to make sure those who are like disciplined and actively contributing are actually the ones who are also helping the team. But yeah, I do get quite a few angry messages about it.
Yep. Well, it's good to have firm standards that you can actually stick to. So I give you a lot of credit for that as I watch your Sarka walking back. So you're not only firm
Uh,
about KVK participation, but you also do gather resources. Nice to see. Um,
it's just gems.
oh, it's gems. All right, all right. So Spooks, you did mention to me that you have migrated back a number of times in Rise of Kingdoms. This seems like a pretty successful project that you're involved in now. You mentioned that you had, sort of played with this group in KVK one, and then what'd you do? Migrate back before KVK two?
Yeah, we migrated. Like we are one of the last kingdom batches who can do the KVK2 migration. So I was one of the people who was brought in with tickets.
Gotcha. And as you just noted, Lilith has really changed the jumping back experience. They've gotten rid of jumper accounts entirely, and they've really, really restricted the ability of players to migrate back. A couple questions for you, Spooks. Number one, can you clarify for everyone what the Lilith rules are about migration now? Is it basically that no old players can migrate back? And then also, as someone who's played the early game a number of times, what do you think about the current early game experience compared to how it was in the past?
Yeah, so the migration rules have basically been updated. So like accounts older than 60 days, like yeah, 60 days older than the kingdom cannot migrate back until they reach like right after KVK free. And then basically it opens up to everyone except new accounts can't come in until KVK 5. So what people can do is they can go like finish KVK2 and then migrate back, but after that there's nothing more they can do. So they're basically forced to go into Season of Conquest now. And like what this has done is there's no longer this huge like disparity between how like the big account or like how the big accounts shift KVKs because now it's like fully focused on basically how many native T5s and like good fighters can you get. But it also means like I think in my opinion from what I've seen is the like quality of individual like player skill has also gone down because there's just less of those like, basically mentor players.
Yeah, that's a really interesting trade-off that, the players around you are weaker, but maybe you're a little bit weaker too, just because you're not getting the coaching that you used to get in the past or the just good war leading and marker setting that you would get in the past. Do you think it's better nowadays or do you think it's better how it used to be?
I think for the new player experience, it's undeniably better. Like I was for a short time in R4 in the 3777 project,
Okay.
and like you can see, they do have experienced leadership, and actually someone who I played against in KVK. So I think like with the right leadership, it's definitely a much better experience. But especially for like weaker kingdoms, like who don't really know what they're doing, it is pretty harmful as they just kind of get stuck in like a downward spiral as they don't get like proper accounts and people just don't like it there, so they leave, which basically kills off the kingdoms.
Yep. Yep. It's always a bit of a trade-off with these things. So lastly, Spooks, just tell me a little bit about how you guys are doing in Osiris League this season and what your hopes are for the round of 16. You went 2-1 in your group. You lost to a very big team in 3560. I believe they also beat you in KVK recently. You're up against 3575 this week. How are you feeling about your bracket? How are you feeling about how the league has gone so far?
I'm gonna like admit that getting 3575 is kind of a like bad thing for us. Like we have fought them in KVK before, like KVK2 we went against them. And like what happened there, we were able to beat them in a 3v2. So they had two imps and we had one imp. But like they're like on the 30 player quality, they are pretty good. They have very good Turkish players. And then I think what we've like had throughout the season is like we've definitely had a quality advantage, and then 3560 just came in with their like extremely strong and numerous accounts, which is like that kingdom is almost a perfect example of how like a successful KVK2 free kingdom looks, because it's just numbers.
Yeah. Um, do you do you think 3560 is the favorite in the Realm of Sobek, or who are you as a Sobek player and someone who's won Osiris League in the past? Who are you rating as the favorite here in the Realm of Sobek?
I think it's pretty much like an obvious toss up between 35 and 60, as both are very, very good kingdoms, have very high like individual player quality. But I think ultimately, I think 35 does have the better leadership team. But like 60, I think like their player quality is slightly better. But I think overall, I would favor 35 just for their leadership.
All right. Well, there you have it, everybody. Some boots on the ground alpha from Spooks about the Realm of Sobek and what might happen in the later rounds of Sobek. Spooks, I really appreciate you doing this interview today. It was very interesting to talk to a former Osiris League champion. And best of luck with your kingdom going forward, and best of luck in the Osiris League this
Yeah,
Sunday.
we're gonna need it.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah, good night.